Fact of the matter is this. Cardinals are not going to have the first overall pick. The Arizona Cardinals are going to be picking somewhere between 3 and 7. I feel like pretty confidently we know that definitively. Maybe 2 if things fall apart this weekend. What we also know is that Kyler Murray is going to be the guy pulling the strings and is their signal caller in 2024 and beyond. If Kyler Murray enters the fold with the hardest strength of schedule remaining and somehow goes 500, 4-4 if you beat Seattle this weekend, that's a modern NFL miracle, given the talent discrepancy between these teams that they're facing. I think that at the end of the day, this is something that the Cardinals wanted to have happen. They needed to see it with their eyes. And I think dating back to November when Jonathan Gannon saw Kyler Murray in practice, it was like, if I can't work with this, if we can't make this work, that's an indictment as a head coach.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, I feel like, especially in press conference situations, like you're trying to get answers for questions that you don't know the answer for.
Yeah.
Anytime you hear Jonathan Gannon talk about Kyler Murray, even after pedestrian, below average performances throughout his return since week 10, he's been very complimentary. Even when we've seen those performances where I think people were wanting more from the quarterback, Jonathan Gannon's been there to kind of lift up his quarterback and reassure everybody that he has full confidence in him.
Take me too long. I think, everything that you want out of a quarterback: command, competitiveness. Then when you talk about the skill set, accuracy, decision making, arm talent, then you go, when that doesn't happen, ability to extend plays. And he sees the game, he's never sped up. So he sees it, extremely fast, extremely quick. He's not sped up. And honestly, I think that it will improve as we move forward because he's 8 weeks into a system. So I think sky's the limit.
And, that clip right there, I didn't even think the question had to be asked. Moving forward. Well, there's only 1 week left in the season. I mean, what after just 8 weeks, like, I don't know. Are bonita fish big? They're what you could call a trophy fish there, Dale. Yeah, I guess you could say they're pretty big. I mean, Kyler Murray's the Cardinals franchise.
What's wrong with this guy? Tremendous.
I don't know, man. I thought that this has been settled, but I mean, sure. I mean, if people are going to ask him straight up and he's going to be as definitive as he was on local sports talk radio today, then great. But I'm pretty sure that we'd answer that question.
We did. This show did. Alex, $4.99. We enjoying that K1 Kool-Aid for at least one more year. I mean, I think they're going to go to the playoffs next year, Alex. I think, and thank you for the super chat. I think this time next year, it's going to be a situation in which, oh my God, thank God we have Kyler Murray under contract. If he stays healthy, and we map this out on Twitter, like he's going to throw for over 30 touchdowns next year. His projection this year over 17 games is 30 touchdowns with a middling team off a torn ACL. Are we taking that for granted now? Michael Penix Jr. was awesome last night. He threw 2 touchdowns in a college football game when he's got the best wide receivers on the field. Kyler Murray threw 3 touchdowns against the defending NFC champions on the road with Greg Dortch and Trey McBride and James Conner in a watered down offense and Michael Wilson, because Hollywood Brown's injured and DeAndre Hopkins was cut from this team back in May. Like, that's what Kyler Murray has to work with. And I don't know. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
Yeah.
I want Kyler Murray on this team. You are 100% right to have that opinion. I'm just going to disagree with you because I've seen the alternative for this franchise. Like, I push back on people. Don't you want stability? Don't you want clarity? Like, they have clarity now that they can go in this offseason and load up. And then the mood in that locker room. And I love the clip, by the way, from Jonathan Gannon talking about Awesome Ford that you put on PHNX Cardinals, Bo, basically saying, like, Monty and I talk every day. And he's about, like, down the line, I'm in the moment. It's going to be a really fun time in the moment saying, we have a franchise quarterback. Let's get him as much help as possible so we can win games next year.
Yeah.
Anybody wants to go through the rigors of, let's take a wild card on a young quarterback. I mean, that's after last offseason when we stripped this roster down. Nobody wants to do that.
The one thing that is very refreshing about this new brain trust, the new decision makers in town, and Monty Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon, like, sure, like, they'll tell you some things in press conferences and it'll be coach speak, it'll be general manager speak. For the most part, they're not disingenuous. Like, they were far from it. And when you see authentic reactions, like Monty Ossenfort after the game just clobbering people because he's so excited, high-fiving and hugging people, including Kyler Murray, because he is just so, sky high as far as in elation, as far as his team pulling off the upset for their coach. And you saw that against Dallas, and you saw that in a couple other wins, I think against Atlanta, where Monty Ossenfort is celebrating these dubs despite what people believe what would benefit this team as far as losing. But these guys, when they talk about Kyler Murray, they're not just blowing smoke. They believe in him as a quarterback, and they've stood behind him. And sure, they were looking for their first opportunity at the respective positions, but at the same time, Kyler Murray was one of the big reasons that made this position appealing for both Ossenfort and Gannon. Now, still, they need to find out for themselves, and Gannon's maintained that with any decision that they make going forward. But, Kyler Murray, there's certainly questions surrounding him, but as far as the skill set and then the confidence to really tap into that skill set, I think Monty and JG both believe in it. And then to hear that from JG, in the quote is they're in lockstep, right? That they're talking this roster and its players on a daily basis. And obviously they've got, like you said, what Monty's doing and then what JG's doing, they have very different roles. But as far as talking players and that continued communication, as far as what they're going to do with the players currently on the team and the players that they're going to, hopefully view and identify as solutions for this team down the road, he said it's the lifeblood of this program. And that, my God, that didn't exist. It has to have you excited. Both of them scouting background, and to steal from JG, both love ball. And this organization's in good hands going forward.
They absolutely are. And, I'll get to this super chat here from our guy, Richard, $1.99. Thank you so much.
Richard.
K1 is my QB. Glad the coaching staff saw it my way. I think, believe what they do and believe what they say. And they've been with Kyler Murray every step of the way. Now, if Kyler Murray had not taken the approach that he had, if he didn't buy into his rehab, if he wasn't a team player, if he didn't, play well, if all those things didn't happen, that gave the Cardinals an out to move off of him. But Kyler Murray, just like Gannon and Ossenfort, he's checked every box, and he should be commended for that. I mean, it's easy to, play along with Andy Reid when everything's going right, and you've got the stability of that ownership family in Kansas City. But if you're Kyler Murray, everybody's slinging mud at you last January. You don't know who your head coach or general manager is going to be. Nobody thinks your contract is worth a damn. And he could have easily said, you know what? I should have played baseball. This isn't working for me. Everybody hates me. Took the opposite approach. And he said, I'm going to get after my rehab. I'm going to come back for my teammates. I'm 100% bought in with the new head coach and general manager. I'm going to prove to the old regime that they were the problem, not me, which is the narrative right now. And he's done that. And I think that's commendable. And I think no matter where you're at in your walk of life, your profession, everybody can relate to that at the end of the day. Proving people wrong, proving the doubters wrong. And Jonathan Gannon and Ossenfort wanted to embrace Kyler Murray from day one. This was not, depending on what day Mike Florio writes an article, this was not a situation in which Kyler Murray was going to be sacrificed, that they were going to hold him out for the entire year. They were going to play him when he was ready to play, when they felt like he was ready to play, and they were going to actively try to win games. And that's exactly what happened. They didn't move off of, Hollywood Brown because they wanted to give Kyler Murray every chance to go out and compete and win. And he's going to do that without Hollywood Brown.
There's no bullshit smoke and mirrors shenanigans going on with this team. They're looking for people that are passionate about football, love ball, that want to help a team win, that want to buy into a process, that want to help continue to shift the culture. All this conspiracy theory bullcrap that you see and all this outside noise, that's not what this organization is about any longer. There's no longer going to be any negotiations that are going to be played out in the public forum through, leaks and reports and from sources within the organization trying to take down any other member of the organization. Since day one, and I think this is across the board, regardless of what the outcome was for any given player, but everybody was given their opportunity to prove themselves to this organization, including Kyler Murray. And he has responded by matching and being in lockstep with and being very similar and like-minded with his head coach as far as their competitiveness, their drive, their want to win, and buy into the culture that's now in place under JG and Monty. like Isaiah Simmons did, Marco Wilson did. The guys that were sent packing early on, it was clear that one, they weren't a fit, and two, that they weren't willing to be adaptable and do whatever it takes to be a part of this organization. Kyler Murray, despite signing, for this team an historic contract, $230.5 million, even having that, he bought in because he understood that and is competitive enough that he wanted to prove people wrong. The people that, signed him to that deal and then treated him like he did, and never really truly empowered him like this new organization has. It's like, it's crazy. That's dangerous what the previous regime did, but it's crazy what you can do as far as creating a dangerous player in Kyler Murray just by empowering him and speaking it up and talking to his strengths.